All right, friends, welcome back to the 2014 Canadian Senior and Masters Men's Fastpitch Championships from Charlottetown, PEI. And you're looking at a leadoff single for Chris Walushka. Make that a triple. We'll see how that is scored, but definitely Chris Walushka at third base to start the game for Saskatchewan, or for the Sooke Loggers.
Now batting the third baseman, number 3, Chad Brydenton.
So we'll see how that scored. Definitely a hit. And Walushka at third for the Loggers. This is the Loggers team looking for their first win of the tournament. Went 0-2 yesterday. Their first game of the day today against Saskatchewan. The Diamondbacks, they are now 1-2. They lost a really tough game, our first game of the day. Against PEI, Saskatchewan lost 2-1. A pitcher's battle, if you recall. You Diamondbacks fans, 2-1. Devin McCullough did all he could, but they ran up against a tough pitcher for PEI in Don Scott and just could not win that game. Good Saskatoon. So after going 1-0 with a 9-2 victory over Quebec, the Diamondbacks are now 1-2 and looking to get back on the winning track here against the Sooke Loggers team. Still looking for the first win. The Loggers lost yesterday 10-0 to that same PEI team, and then lost last night to Nova Scotia. And that is just foul down the third base line. So welcome back to Field 1 here at the championships. Double action going on right now. They're still playing that Kelly's Pub 3 Cheers Pub game on Field 2. Right now that is a 5-1 lead for 3 Cheers Pub over there with Chris Abbott in that game. Just getting started here, high and outside, 3-2. Game time temperatures in the early 20s. Wind blowing right to left on the screen. And a mixture of sun and overcast skies. That's going to go off the thigh of Bryden. He'll go down to first base. So Bryden at first with a walk. So Walushka ends up at third.
Now batting the second base,
Bryden at first.
Andrew Medrich.
And here's Andrew Medwich. And contact information on your screen. B. McLean Sports on Twitter and community1sports@gmail.com. Hope to hear from you throughout the broadcast. In there for a strike. Left-hander on the mound for Saskatchewan is Jeff Farian. So Jeff Farian, your pitcher here for Saskatchewan. We got an early jam. Runners on the corners in the first. Runner goes at first and fouled off here by Andrew Medwich. Our third of 4 games, or check that, our third of 5 games from Field 1 today. So right in the middle. Still to come up, we have PEI versus Quebec, and we're going to finish off with BC versus Newfoundland 2, the 3 Cheers Pub. So the busy night for the Sooke Loggers. They're going to be back on the field tonight for that game against the 3 Cheers Pub. 2-2. Runner goes. Indifference. He'll go down to second, Will Bryden. Clement Haga is your catcher. Sean at first. Anthony Clement Haga is the second baseman. McCoy away at short. Beerley at third. Burns in left field. That's Pat Burns getting his first start in left field. Jessen Potskin in center. And McCullough in right field. Your outfield for Saskatoon. 3-2. Diamondbacks trying to get back on track after that tough loss today. and enjoy their night here in Charlottetown with a 2-2 record. Hit to deep left. Burns back, makes the catch. Tagging and scoring will be Walushka. He will score. So Walushka scores the first run of the game. An RBI sac fly for Medwich. So an RBI for Medwich. Walushka scores.
Number 12, Blake.
And going to third as well was Bryden. Here's Blake Hunter, the first baseman. Up high. And that wind is really howling inwards and towards left field, if you will. Muscled into center. And making a catch out there is Potskin. Throw comes home. Cut off by the first baseman. Scoring will be Bryden. 2 runs up here.
Now batting the designated player number 8, Tyson Barkman.
Chad Bryden scores 2-0. Blake Hunter a sac fly RBI. So back-to-back sacrifice RBIs. And 2 runs have come home. The bases are empty. And here's Tyson Barkman, the DP. Last time we saw Tyson, he was pitching last night and pitched very well. Could have easily won that game. Could have Tyson. A tough loss to Nova Scotia. Gets the bunt down, and that could be tricky. Second baseman will not get there in time. Nicely done by Barkman. Got the bunt to the pitcher and committed fully, had the first baseman, so he couldn't get back on it. And the second baseman, Clement Haga, couldn't get over on time.
Number 15, Ben Edgington.
So Barkman an infield single with the bunt. First pitch swinging and fouled away down the right field line. The 0-1. High and playable for the second baseman, Clement Haga. He'll make the catch, and that'll do it for the Loggers in the first. They send 6 men to the plate. They get 2 runs on 1 hit. Check that, 2 hits. No errors. And they leave 1 on. So a good start for Saskatoon. Or for the Sooke Loggers, sorry. Loggers in the orange and black, and the Sooke Loggers in the white and blue, and on the field here in the bottom of the first. Your defense for the Loggers. The catcher is Brian Banner. First baseman, Blake Hunter. Andrew Medwich, the second baseman. Chad Bryden at third. Chris Walushka at shortstop. Ben Edgington in the left field. Nick Medwich in center. And Jesse Grieve in right.
In the top of the first for the Sooke Loggers, they had 2 runs on 2 hits. 1 Saskatchewan error and 1 batter left on base.
There was a Saskatchewan error in that inning as well. So an error given to Saskatchewan. Devin McCullough, Anthony Clement Haga, Brennan Pokoyaway, and Trevor Ether, all coming up.
And Masters Men's Fastpitch Championships would like to say thank you to the following major sponsors of the tournament. Hosting partners, City of Charlottetown, the Charlottetown Tourism Accommodation Levy, the Government of Prince Edward Island, and Grand Slam sponsors, Straight Crossings, Bella Lion, Pepsi, and Farrell Ford.
So here's McCullough. We've seen him have some outstanding games. Pitched the 9-2 win over Quebec. Struck out 11 in that one. And in our first game of the day featuring Saskatchewan,
Diamondbacks number 12.
he struck out 14 men. 14 strikeouts for McCullough, but couldn't get the win on a solid pitching performance by Don Scott. The 1-1 coming up from Scott Leaf. And therefore strike 1 and 2. Here comes Life with the 1-2. In there, strike 3. Scott Life has his first strikeout of the game. And it's McCullough. McCullough out on strikes looking. Not a surprise there. McCullough, as many people as he's struck out, he's also been prone to the strikeout at that leadoff position. Here's Anthony Clemenhaga. Just off the plate is Scott Life, a 1-0. Anthony Clemenhaga batting 2 for 10 so far in the tournament. He's got 2 RBIs. Just off the plate, 2-0. Just off the plate, and the catcher for the Sooke Loggers thought he had a strike, Brian Banner, and before throwing it back, just kind of hesitated, and he's talking to the umpire now. He thought that was in there. Kind of non-verbally showing his disbelief, and that is high. Clemenhaga will go down to first base. So Clemenhaga down to first with the walk, and here's Brendan.
Batting the shortstop number 4, Brendan Pokoyewe.
Brendan Pokoyewe. I've been trying to say it. I had it down pat the first 2 games. So all of a sudden, I got a brain cramp on it. Brendan Pokoyewe. He's been one of the great players so far for the Sooke Loggers. Pokoyewe batting .455. 5 hits in at 11 at bats. He's got a home run and 3 RBIs, and he's been outstanding defensively. So Pokoyewe with a runner at first. One and one. Chopped for a 1-2. In the bottom of the first, Saskatoon trying to respond to a 2-run first inning for the Sooke Loggers. That's in there, 2-2, or up high, 2-2. Swinging and missing is Pokoyewe out on strikes. The second strikeout for Life.
Now batting the designated player, number 17, Trevor Ethier.
There's Trevor Ethier, the DP. The 1-0. Just off the plate, 1-1. Or 2-0, sorry. Ethier. And then Potskin, should he reach. The runner at first is still Clement Haga. There comes the 2-0. Inside, 3-0. Here's your 3-0 from Ethier. And there for a strike, 3-1. This umpire has a delayed strike call that can be tricky sometimes. He calls it down on the field and then waits a second before showing that strike signal with the extended right hand. 3-1. 3-2. Scott Life, a strike away from getting out of the inning. Shot up the middle, a laser. And going first to third will be Clement Haga. He'll hold there. So Clement Haga at third, Ethier at first with a single. A 3-2 pitch.
Number 16, Justin Potskin.
Right up the middle. Off the bat of Ethier. And a hot shot that was. And now here's Justin Potskin. Potskin, the center fielder. Out in front of the first pitch, 0-1. The fifth batter of the inning is Potskin. In low, 1-1. Potskin having a good tournament so far, batting .444, 4 for 9 with 2 RBIs. Reaches out and slaps that one foul to the backstop. 1-2. As you might expect for this game, not a great crowd here, but they'll start to pile in for that 6:30 game. Quebec versus the John Browns Faucets. Off the plate. Two and two. That's a 6:30 scheduled start. So we should start to get some good atmosphere in the building around 5:45, 6 o'clock. A check swing, pop up to shortstop, and no problem there for Walushka. And that'll do it for Saskatoon in the top of the first. Potskin flies out to short, or pops out to short. They send 5 men to the plate. Get 1 hit, no runs. Two left on. And no errors for the Sooke Loggers.
In the bottom of the first for the Saskatchewan Diamondbacks, there was no runs on no hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on base.
All right, so let's go to the top of the second. A 2-0 lead for the Sooke Loggers. And coming up here is Banner, Grieve, and Medwich. for the Loggers. Banner, the catcher, still looking for his first hit of the tournament, 0 for 4 so far.
Now batting for Sooke, the catcher, number 38, Brian Banner.
Out in front is Banner, 1-1. Top of the second from Charlottetown. The 1-1. That is up high, 2-1. The left-hander comes to. Fouled off the backstop, 2-2. Banner, Grieve, Medwich. And then back to the top of the order with Belushka, should anyone reach. Two runs in the first inning for Sooke. A single by Walushka, a walk by Bryden, and then two sacrifice fly IBRs, or IBIs by Medwich and Hunter. And out in front of that, and rip foul down the first base line. 2-2, again on Banner. Chopped it foul down the first base side. They'll do the 2-2 again. Swinging and missing is Banner out on strikes. High in or a low inside fastball. Over the top, and here's Jesse Grieve. Grieve and Medwich still to come here. Grieve still looking for his first hit of the tournament. 0 for 5 is Jesse. Just off the plate. Jeff Varian looking for an explanation on where that pitch was. The 1-0. Fouled down the first base side and just out of play. So we'll do the 1-1 here. The 2-1. Fouled away down the first base side. So the 2-2 coming up here from Varian on Jesse Grieve. Swung on to left field. And out there making the play, no problem, big Pat Burns. He's a big guy. Gets back on that one, makes the catch. Grieve out to left field. So 2 outs in the inning.
Now batting the center fielder, number 4, Nick Medwich.
Here's Medwich. Nick Medwich. Medwich having a pretty good tournament so far, batting .333. 1 for 3 through 2 games. The 2-0 pitch. In there for a strike, 2-1. They're finished over there in field 2. And looks like that is the Three Cheers Pub beating Kelly's Pub 7-1, from what I can tell. The Three Cheers Pub, of course, they are the 2-time defending champions. And right now they are looking like they are on point so far here at the Nationals. The 2-2 pitch coming up. Up high, 3-2. Full count pitch coming up to Medwich. And chopping it down behind home plate. The 3-2. Up high, a walk for Medwich. Put him down at first base. Chris Walushka.
Number 11, Chris Walushka.
Singled and scored a run. Back in the second or in the first inning. Chopper, 2 for 2 is Walushka. They're going to hold Medwich at second base. But Walushka now with 2 singles.
Number 3, Chad Bryden.
There's Chad Bryden. Bryden walked and scored a run as well on a sac fly. So back to the top of the order here. Walushka singles, and now Bryden, the number 2 hitter in the lineup. High pop fly here on the infield, and that'll be caught by Beerley, the third baseman. So no damage done for Saskatoon in the second.
I'd like to acknowledge the following home run sponsors: Kent Pre-Built Steel.
They sent 5 men to the plate.
Bulk carriers. Triple sponsor.
Get
Southern
1 hit.
University of Prince Edward Island. Double sponsor Vision Quest. Single sponsor.
No
Ocean
runs.
Springs Water Company and Maritime Electric, and our media sponsor.
They leave
Diamondbacks
2 on
Media,
with
Ocean
no
Company,
errors
Hot
for
105.5,
Saskatoon.
and the Guardian.
So the Loggers leading 2-0, and here comes Saskatoon in the bottom of the second.
On 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on base.
Colin Sean, Jim Clemenhaga, and Pat Burns all coming up for Saskatoon, along with Colby Beerley. Again, remember, we're live and interactive here on Bella Line Community One. Make sure you reach out to us on the email and the Twitter. B. McLean Sports on Twitter, Community One Sports at gmail.com. Hope to hear from you throughout the broadcast.
Bottom of the second, for Saskatchewan.
Comments, feedbacks,
First
opinions,
baseman, number
shutouts.
7, Colin Sean.
Let us know where you're watching from. Quebec defeated Nova Scotia 9-2 in our second game of the day. We'll see that Quebec team back here at 6:30 when they play the John Brown's Faucets, the host team, their feature game of the night. And your final game tonight, the nightcap, the Loggers versus the Three Cheers Pub. Swinging and missing is Colin Sean. Sean, the first baseman. 1-1. Holds back here. 2-1. Scott Life out there for his second inning of work. Faced 5 batters in the first inning. Gave up just 1 hit. Just off the plate. Saskatoon fans not happy. Looked off the plate up here. Everybody has a great view of home plate. That's the problem when you have a park like this where everybody's got a great seat. Everybody can see home plate, and everybody's got an opinion. Three and 2. To short. Nicely done. There by Walushka. Colin Sean out 6-3.
Now batting the catcher number 39, Jim Kremenhaga.
Jim Clemenhaga, the catcher. Just off the plate. Getting a wind blowing right to left on your screen. Temperatures in the low 20s. And mostly overcast skies right now. That's in there for a strike. Clemenhaga still looking for his first hit. He's had 8 at-bats and yet to get a hit has Jim. To short. Walushka. No problem. So Jim Clemenhaga out 6-3. The second play of the game for Walushka. He's recorded the last 3 outs.
Now batting the left fielder, number 14, Pat Burns.
Pat Burns. Pat 0 for 3 so far. Scored a run, struck out 3 times. So it's been tough going for Pat at the plate. Fouled back. Colby Beerley would follow. High and outside. An all BC battle again. Not many people here to start, but expect the stands to fill up more and more as we get closer to 6 o'clock. People start to file in for that 6:30 game with the host team. Should bring some good atmosphere to the place. 2-1. Saskatoon. Just a beautiful little town in Saskatchewan. They got a great downtown area. A beautiful campus, the University of Saskatchewan. To short and unable to make that play. This time was Lewischka. That would have been a tough play anyways. Give a single to Pat Burns. He's got his first hit of the tournament. Walushka unable to backhand it going towards the third base line.
Third baseman number 10, Colby Beerley.
So here's Colby Beerley. So if you're just joining us from the Newfoundland versus Newfoundland battle, won by the Three Cheers Pub. Welcome to Field 1. We are in the third inning. Or the second inning, sorry, the bottom of the second between the Sooke Loggers and the Saskatoon Diamondbacks. And the Loggers leading 2-0. 0-1. This is Colby Beerley. That's high and outside and making his way down to second. Here's Pat Burns. He's got back to the backstop. Beerley looking for his first hit of the tournament. Still 0 for 4. The 1-1 pitch coming up on Beerley. And that gets past the catcher as well. So Banner having a hard time here. And going down to third is Pat Burns, representing the first run of the game for the Diamondbacks. 1-2 though. Scott Life, a strike away from getting out. The 1-2. Unable to hold back. Missing is Beerley. And that'll do it for Saskatoon in the second. They send 4 men to the plate. They get 1 run, or 1 hit, sorry, on no runs and no errors. They leave 1 on. We go to the top of the third with the Sooke Loggers coming up with their 3, 4, 5 hitters, Medwich, Hunter, and Barkman. As mentioned, Saskatoon, just beautiful little town, city in Saskatchewan with a great funky downtown and a beautiful campus, the University of Saskatchewan. Sooke on Vancouver Island is just a glorious place. Just about, I think about 30 minutes outside of Victoria, and home to the Sooke Potholes. And if you ever get a chance to go to the Sooke Potholes, do not miss it. It's basically just a collection of swimming pools in a river, surrounded by rocks and cliffs and hills, if you will. I know I'm probably describing it awfully, but I had a chance to do it about 10 years ago, and what a great time. Everybody in the Victoria area goes to the Sooke Potholes. Great to have both places with us. Just about 10 minutes after 2 there in Saskatchewan, and 1 o'clock in Sooke.
Second baseman, number 29, Andrew Medrich.
1-0, or a 2-0, sorry, and a 1-0 count on Medwich. Up there high, 2-0. I'd love to hear from you, you friends in Saskatoon and Sooke, on the email and the Twitter. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're cheering for. Up high, 3-0. I'll retweet you, read your comments on the air. Any feedback, always greatly appreciated. The 3-0. Up high, 4-0. And that'll be a walk for Medwich.
Now batting the first baseman, number 12, Blake Hunter.
So 4 pitches, 4 balls. Medwich down to first. There's Blake Hunter. Hunter had a sacrifice fly RBI back in the first. Gonna go down and talk to the third base coach. Here's your first pitch. Up high, 0-1, or 1-0. The runner at first is Medwich. Second pitch fouled off. Blake Hunter at the plate here for BC. This is Blake 1 for 5 so far. Again, he had that sacrifice fly RBI. So 1 for 5 is Hunter with an RBI and 2 strikeouts. Now looking at a 1-2 count. To center. That is deep. And unable to catch it out there is Potskin. He had a beat on it, couldn't squeeze it. There could be a play at the plate. Out at home is Medwich. He thought he was safe. Looked in time to me. The throw was there, a beautiful relay, and they've got Medwich at home. 8-6-2. Hunter ends up all the way at third.
Now batting the designated player number 8, Tyson Bark.
So 1 out in the inning. It was Medwich at home. A double for Blake Hunter. See if that was scored an error, actually. That was a tough play out there. We'll wait on that. But center fielder Potskin got back on it. It was driven all the way to the track. He did get under it, but then couldn't squeeze it. Just flat out couldn't squeeze it. Bounced away and then made the beautiful relay throw. So it might have been just a situation where he started looking at what was going on in the infield before, that split second before making the catch. How many times did you see that? Guys looking away just at the last millisecond and don't squeeze it. Hence the foghorn, leghorn expression. Keep your eye on the ball. And the ball here out to right field. Scoring is Blake Hunter. And an RBI single for Tyson Barkman. So Barkman scores.
Now batting the left fielder number 15.
Or Hunter scores. Give Barkman an RBI. Medwich, again, was out. 8-6-2. And just trying to retract, that may have actually been the third baseman may have actually cut that off as well to get it to the catcher. Happened so fast. Might have been an 8-6-5-2. Edgington at the plate, popped out to the second baseman. Edgington, 333, 1 for 3. Got a couple strikeouts. Runner at first base in the form of Barkman. That is in for a strike. Very interesting strike call. He's got a great strike zone, this umpire, but the strike zone you can hear it on the field. You're not sure if he's saying ball or strike, and then about 2 seconds later, he raises that right hand to indicate a strike. So it kind of leaves you in suspense there at times. There is another strike. Starting to get a handle on it now. 2-2. Just getting enough to foul it off. 1 out in the inning. A run is in. It's 3-0. And Barkman at first with his RBI single. Great email coming in here. There's a bouncing ball to short. Great play. Pacoy away, and they can't turn the double play, but Pacoy away to Clement Haga. They get Barkman at second. The 6-4 for the second out. Can't make the relay throw in time. Edgington there safely. So a runner at first, 2 outs. And here's Brian Banner. That's just off the plate. Emails and tweets, send them in. Got a great email coming in from Tammy Morin in Victoria. Read that for you here in a second. With us there just after lunchtime in beautiful Victoria. 2-2. High to center field, and Potskin won't even have to move on that one hardly. And he will squeeze that one. So Banner, a high fly ball to Potskin. The Loggers send 5 men to the plate. We'll wait to see how that hit to Potskin from Blake Hunter is scored. Or, yeah, the Blake Hunter hit. where Medwich was thrown out at home. 1 run for sure, we know that. Make it a 3-0 game. And there was 1 left on base. But Tammy Moran, watching from Victoria, watching her son Chris Walushka, saying, keep calm and log her on, boys. Stuff from Tammy Moran. Keep calm and log her on. To the Sooke Loggers from Tammy in Victoria. Thank you very much, Tammy. What a beautiful, beautiful part of the country. We've been talking the last couple of days about how great Charlottetown is in the summertime. One of the places to be in Atlantic Canada in the summer.
Top of the third, there was 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 runner left on base.
1 error. So 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left on base. 4s or 1s all away around. That was an error on Potskin. Not able to squeeze it in center field.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee and its dedicated volunteers.
So that is an unearned run.
Canadian Championship successful and fun. We'd also like to thank the fans for their continued support of the game.
For
athletes who take part in these prestigious events.
Jeff Farian
in the game.
in that inning. So far, Farian has pitched 3 innings and given up 3 runs, the left-hander. So 3-0.
Leading off, the right fielder, number 12.
And contact information on the screen. Johnny Gunn, thank you very much for the follow. Johnny Gunn on Twitter. You're there for a strike. 0-1. Sooke Loggers back to it, or Saskatoon back to it here in the 3rd inning. Devin McCullough, Clement Haga, and Pakoyaway. 2 quick strikes on McCullough. Scott Life goes out for his 3rd inning of work. No runs allowed so far for Scott. He's given up 2 hits. He's stranded 3. High and outside. 1-2. Chopper. And knocked down at home plate. 0-2. The sun shining again in Charlottetown. Past the 3rd baseman and into left field. So Bryden just couldn't get down on it. And put Devin McCullough at first base. So McCullough at first with a single. Here is Clement Haga. Clement Haga unable to get the bunt down. 0-1. Down low, 1-1. Runner down at first is McCullough. It pulls back and it's right down the heart of the plate, 1-2. As mentioned, the crowd getting slowly bigger and bigger here as we roll along. People continue to file in, getting ready for that big game coming up at 6:30. A lot of times it's not about getting a good seat here. It's about getting a good parking spot. Striking out is Clement Haga. Clement Haga strikes out. But yeah, it's not so much about getting a good seat. All the seats are good in this place. It's just about whether or not you can get a parking spot that's within a mile, especially with the host team playing. Here's Pacoy. Struck out in the first. Runner at first is still McCullough. Just off the plate, 0-1. Pacoy now 5 for 12 on the tournament. He's having himself a pretty good stretch so far. 1 home run, 3 RBIs. Struck out 3 times. Gets into one to left center, and that could go. Goodbye. A no-doubter for Pacoy. A 2-run bomb. And just like that, Saskatoon right back into it. McCullough scores. Pacoy with the Bell Alliant bomb. And the complexion of this game has changed. 3-2. 2 RBIs for Pacoy. His great tournament continues. Now 6 for 13 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. He is in the early candidate for the All-Star team. At least 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 6 for 13. A 3-2 game. Bases are cleared. Life can start over. Scott Life. Life can start over for the Loggers. And Scott can start over from a pitching perspective, 2-0. Try to get back on track. We've seen this today. We've had guys, and the Saskatoon coach is going to wonder why there's no balk on that play, or a legal pitch at least. That mound has been a source of frustration for some guys. We've seen it in our first game. We had a couple guys fall down as they threw it, including Devin McCullough. If you Saskatchewan fans remember from our first game, fell down but still threw a swinging strike. So it's been a source of frustration today for some guys. It's a little, I'm not sure if you can see it on your camera. It's just a little choppy out there. This is a field that, ironically, we have rain in the forecast, which for the weekend, which hopefully will not cause any cancellations. But this is a field that will just love to get that rain. It'll just slap it right up because it's just very, very dusty. They've had a dry stretch here in Charlottetown. And you're seeing these ground balls with a lot of real vicious hops for these infielders. A good night of rain would really settle that hot infield down.
Now batting the center fielder, number 16, Justin.
There's a walk to Ethier. So Ethier will go to first base. Had that very same situation in Gander, Newfoundland, when we were doing the U18 championships. We had a hard time getting all the games in, and the weather was frustrating at times, but at the same time, they had gone through a 30-day dry stretch. So when we had our first couple games, our first couple days of games, it was just a mess of dust. And then finally, once the rain came, it made the infield much more playable for guys and really kind of calmed things down. We saw a reduction in errors, and infielders had a much easier time. That ball gets passed. Ethier will go down to second. A 1-1 count. Here's the 1-1. High and out of play, and maybe on the press box. No, we still haven't had one hit off the press box. We had lots of moving targets here at the fields. You got vending machines, cars, humans, press boxes. Every foul ball from either field is a point of interest for fans. See where if it's going to land and if it's going to hit something. 1-2. Everyone loves to see a foul ball hit off a car, as long as it's not yours. Just off the plate, 2-2. Runner at second is Ethier. Into center. Breaking in was the center fielder, Medwich. And that fooled him. Gets over his head, and that'll be a double for Potskin. And we are all tied up. Ethier scores.
Now batting the first baseman, number 37, Colin Sean.
Potskin the double. And off the bat, Medwich out there in center broke in. And by the time he recovered, it was too late. Over his head to the wall. Gets it in quickly to keep Ethier at Potskin at a double. But with one out, Saskatoon ties this game up. And they're still in business here with a runner at second in the form of Potskin and Colin Sean at the plate. Kelly Lenius is going to run for Justin Potskin.
Now in the game for the Diamondbacks, number 8, Kelly Linus.
So Kelly Lenius in the game for Potskin. And here's Colin Sean. This is the sixth man to come to the plate in the inning. To second. Nicely done, Medwich. And to first for the second out. Nick Medwich is the center fielder. Andrew Medwich is the second baseman. So a good job there by Andrew. 4-3 goes Colin Sean to get the second out. Potskin moves to third base. So Potskin at third. And here's Jim Clement Haga with Tessa Shirley out there watching. You Saskatoon fans, we've been talking about this a few times. But Tessa Shirley, who reaches out to us all the time, she's got her brother-in-law here, Jim, who's the catcher. Another relative, Anthony, at second base. And then she's got 4 kids who all play competitive fast pitch for teams at the national level. That is hit into right field, and Potskin comes home to score, and Jim Clement Haga has himself a single. And just like that, it's 4-3. So the first lead of the game for Saskatoon. But there was one tournament. She had a son playing in Gander. And she had a son playing in Fredericton. And 2 daughters playing in BC. All on one weekend. Competitive fast pitch at an elite level. So 4-3. For Saskatoon over Sooke. I think we got a pitching change coming in here for Sooke. This is Tyson Barkman. So Barkman will come in and pitch for Scott Life.
Now pitching for BC, number 8, Tyson Barkman.
So here's another look at Tyson Barkman. He pitched really well last night in that loss to Nova Scotia, but just could not get any offensive support. He's a fireballer from the right side. Looking to come in and cool off this Saskatoon team. They have sent 7 men to the plate. And have gotten 4 runs all in the third inning. So 4-3 Saskatoon in the bottom of the third. Sooke got out to a 3-0 lead. 2-0 after 1, 3-0 after 3. They have responded. Has Saskatoon. And friends, remember, we're just about halfway through our broadcast day here on Wednesday.
Softball Bats is proud to be the official softball
Still to come, we have 3 more games.
As well as the official ball of the Canadian national teams.
Nova Scotia versus Kelly's Pub over at Field 2. The host team, PEI, versus Quebec on Field 1. And then the Sooke Loggers versus the Three Cheers Pub from St. John's, the 2-time defending champs. That's your nightcap. So still lots of action left. They're getting slowly warmed up and getting ready to go over there for that 6 o'clock start between the East Hants Mastodons and Kelly's Pub. All right, so the 8th man of the inning to come up with 2 outs is Pat Burns. 4-3. Chops it foul down the first base side. The 0-1. Coming up from Tyson Barkman. Barkman had a very unique delivery, very deliberate on the mound, really takes his time, especially when he's not happy with a strike or with a pitch call. If he gets a call that he doesn't get a call that he thought he should have got, he will usually take a few extra seconds to clear his head. 1-1. Off the plate, 2-1. But he'll dig in there, and he'll got a little 3 moves to his right-hand side and then come back towards the middle and give a couple little moves towards the back and then come 2. 1, 2, 3, here he comes. The second, short hop, nicely played over there by Medwich. And he'll get the out 4-3 on Pat Burns. That was a hot shot. Medwich did well again against this infield, which has given a lot of wicked hops so far this week. So 8 batters come to the plate for Saskatoon, including Brennan Pokoyewe, who hit a 2-run bomb. Do you remember that? Way back at the start of the inning. Pokoyewe hit a 2-run blast.
4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base.
4 runs, 4 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base for the Saskatoon Diamondbacks. And we'll go to the top of the 4th inning. And a 4-3 game. Out there for his 4th inning of work is Jeff Farian. And he'll be rejuvenated with the first lead of the game for Farian. So far, he's given up 4 hits and 3 runs. Sooke has stranded 4 runners. And Saskatchewan has stranded 4 as well. So we go to the top of the 4th. And it's Jesse Grieve, Nick Medwich, and Chris Walushka. Should anyone reach Chad Bryden? Jesse Grieve flew out to left field. Up high, 1-0. Bullpen activity down there for Saskatoon. A guy with a number down there I don't have on my lineup or on my roster. Try to figure out who that is. Oh, Chris Walushka. That makes sense. So Walushka down there warming up in the Saskatoon bullpen. A fly out to right field for Jesse Grief. That's the second time
Into
he's
center field,
flown out
for
to the
Nick
7th spot.
Medwidge.
Nick Medwidge, the center fielder. Nick walked and was stranded at first. Back in the second. Medwidge, and then back to the top of the order with Walushka. So as he continues to chuck down there in the bullpen, he's got to keep an eye on having an at-bat. The 0-1 pitch from Jeff Farian. Obviously, this is a big game for Saskatoon. 1-2. They've lost 2 in a row. There's a chopper down to third base line. Nicely done by Beerley. He'll get the runner at first. So 5-3 goes Medwidge on the nice play by Beerley. But Saskatoon, they feel like they're in the mix for this thing. They want to get this win here, get to a 2-2 record, and then tomorrow when they play the Three Cheers Pub at 12 o'clock, they want to make sure they're tossing Devin McCullough probably again. So they want to go into that game against Three Cheers Pub, the defending champs, 2-time defending champs, with Devin McCullough ready to go, as opposed to a 1-3 record. Back on the air tomorrow, are we, at 12 o'clock. Two and one coming up. Here comes the left-hander Farian. Just off the plate. 3-1. So Walushka, Bryden, or Walushka and Bryden, should anyone reach. Walushka chops that away. Still trying to figure out who that Saskatoon player is down there in the bullpen. Got my teams mixed up. I was saying it was Walushka. But no number 11 on my roster or on my lineup submitted by the umpires or the coaches. A 3-2 count on Walushka. Chopper to short, and that is going to eat up McCoy away. Thrown back to first, and that's going to be a mistake. Now Walushka's going to go to second. So McCoy away, can't field it, and then thinking he might have Walushka too far off of first, throws it over there trying to get him going back to the bag, and throws it away. So see how many errors that is on McCoy away. Walushka at second. And that opens the door for Sooke with 2 outs. The tying run at second base. Here's Chad Bryden. He walked and scored. And popped out to the third baseman. First pitch swinging coming up underneath. 0-1. Chris Abbott coming up at 6 o'clock over at field 2. Similar spot this time. They're going to call a strike 2. Yeah, the appeal down to third base coach. They're going to say he went. So Bryden now 0-2. Here comes your 0-2. over the head of the shortstop, and we are all tied up. Walushka will come home and score. And into third, sliding in safely, is Bryden. A hustle play by Bryden. Little confusion out there in left field.
Andrew Medrich.
4-4. Walushka comes around to score. And we're all tied up here from field one. And Bryden goes to third. Took about 2 extra bags there. I'm interested to see how many errors we have called in this inning. Could be as many as 3 now. RBI single for Bryden. Here's Andrew Medwich. That's up high, 2-2. Medwich had a sacrifice fly RBI. And then was thrown out at third base on a great relay play. An error was assessed to Potskin on the drive to center field. And then he tried to stretch it to third base, and Potskin threw him out. Or at home, sorry. On the hit by Blake Hunter, Medwich was thrown out trying to go from first to home. 2-2, or 2-2. Inside. And now you're 2-2. Sorry, the scoreboard wrong over here. Bryden at third, Medwich trying to drive him home, representing the game, the leading run. A chopper that's going to bounce foul down the first base line. 2-2. Again, folks continuing to pile in here. Figure they might as well come out. These are a lot of local fans. Check out the game before as they get ready. That did hit a truck down there in the parking lot. But figure they may as well check out some action before their game with the host team playing Quebec and get a good parking spot. Gorgeous night. What else to do in Charlottetown? A gorgeous night here in the city. Come out and check out some national softball. Striking out is Medwich. That'll do it. But we'll go to the bottom of the fourth in a 4-4 game. Chris Walushka singled, and then Bryden drove him home. I mean, it's interesting to see how many errors assessed in that inning. Still waiting for the official scoring to come in.
For DC in the top of the fourth, there was 1 run on 1 hit, 3 errors, and 1 runner left on base.
There was 3 errors assessed in that inning. Wow. 1 hit, 1 run, 1 left on, and 3 huge errors that brought home that tying run. So a defensive breakdown for Saskatoon, leading to a tied game here. Trevor Ethier. Okay, there we go. So thanks very much to Gubba Giesler.
If you think umpiring sucks,
That was number 17, Trevor Ethier. From our angle up here, it looked like number 11.
The best view of the game.
But the 1s and the 7s, very similar for the Sooke team, or for the Saskatoon team. So we'll go to the bottom of the fourth. Beerley, McCullough, and Clemenhaga. With McCoy away, should anyone reach. That is in 1-0. Beerley struck out back in the second. Tyson Barkman out there for a second inning of work. That's fouled out of play on the first base side. One and one. Up high, 1 and 2, or 2 and 1. Just getting started with our bottom of the fourth. Beerley, McCullough, Clemenhaga. In there for a low strike, 2 and 2. Beerley does not agree. He'll dig back in there, though. Chopper, nicely done by the third baseman, Bryden. Over to Hunter, and that'll do it for Beerley, out 5-3. Top of the fourth with Devin McCullough.
Now batting the right fielder, number 12, Devin McCullough.
Fouled away out of play. McCullough struck out in the first and singled and scored in the third. The 0-1. Down low, 1 and 1. A 4 spot by Saskatoon in the last inning. 4 runs on 4 hits. In there for a strike to McCullough. 1 and 2. Tyson Barkman. McCullough just got enough to foul it off. He'll do the 1 and 2 again. The 1-2. Chopper to second. Great play. Unable to make the throw, though, was Medwich. Snapped it on the backhand, but couldn't get the throw across in time. McCullough probably would have beat it out anyways.
Now batting the second baseman, number 19, Anthony Clemenhaga.
Anthony Clemenhaga. Walked and was stranded. Struck out back in the third. Bunt goes foul on the near side, on the third baseline. Nova Scotia coming up versus Newfoundland 1 at Field 2. That's a tough draw for Newfoundland 1. Kelly's Pub, they just got finished there. They had the 3 o'clock game, and they got to get right back on the field for the 6 o'clock game. Bunted foul this way off the press box. There's our first one. Oh, and 2. Laurie Van Tassel. Lori Van Tassel checking in on Twitter. Lori, no stream for Field 2 yet. The game has not started. They should be on. Usually they try to get on somewhat early to kind of give you a peek look at what's going on at the field. But that game is a 6 o'clock start, still about 8 minutes away, so they should be on there at any moment. Two and two.
He should be on ComNav D, I think. Haven't tested it yet, but
They'll do it again. The 2-2. Out in front. And out on strikes is Clement Haga. Second out of the inning. 5 strikeouts now for Life and Barkman combined.
Now batting the shortstop, number 4, Brennan Pekoyaway.
That's the first strikeout for Barkman. So here's Pekoyaway. Pekoyaway has had an interesting couple hours. He struck out, then hit a 2-run bomb back in the third, and then in the fourth had 2 errors, which eventually led to the tying run. He may have himself another hit. Nope, nicely making the play out there is Medwich. Slides on over and makes the catch in center, showing good range. So Pekoyaway out to center field. 4 men coming to the plate. And they get 1 hit, no runs, 1 left on base, and no errors. We'll go to the 5th inning here in a 4-4 tie. On Bell Alliant Community One, your leader in local sports webcasting in Atlantic, Canada.
For the Diamondbacks into the bottom of the 4th, there were no runs and 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base.
Lori Van Tassel out there getting ready for that Nova Scotia Newfoundland game. That's going to be a great one over there at Field 2. Nova Scotia looking to get back on track. They're now 1-2. And Kelly's Pub, I believe, 2-1 now after that loss to the Three Cheers Pub.
www.softball.ca or contact your provincial or territorial association. Now batting the first baseman, number 12, Blake Hunter.
All right, so here's Blake Hunter. Pitch off the plate, 1-0. Hunter, Barkman, and Edgington. Up high, 2-0. Jeff Farian out there for his 5th inning of work. At one point, we did see Ethier warming up. But Farian back out there again. And 3-0 count.
kind of turn the, you switched it to the battery or you plugged it in?
In there for a strike. Hunter thought he had a walk. He'll dig back in. Hunter came in batting 1 for 5. And he's improved considerably. 2 for 6 now. A double, scored a run, a sacrifice fly RBI, and now on with a walk.
Now batting number 8, Tyson Barkman.
So a good day for Hunter. And here's Tyson Barkman. Barkman batting from the left side. He's got 2 singles, does Tyson. Now batting 3 for 4. Swings under that fastball, 1-1. Here comes the 1-1. Inside, 2-1. Well, those clouds have gone away, and now it's just an absolutely perfect night here in Charlottetown. The wind is still blowing a little bit, but could not ask for better weather. Ether is up and down there on the third base side, warming up again. The 2-2, they're just moments away from getting ready over there at field 2. Up high, 3-2. Here in field 1, we got a good one, 4-4. In the top of the 5th. And again, folks continuing to pile in, looking to get ready for that 6:30 scheduled PEI game. So we're going to have near full house capacity maybe by the time this one ends. Muscled out into left center, and a great play out there by Potskin. Gets over to make the catch on Barkman. And Blake Hunter will get back to first base.
Now batting the left fielder, number 15, Ben Edgington.
Here's Dan Edgington. And therefore a strike on the outside. Edgington popped out to the second baseman and reached on a fielder's choice. The 0-1. A high fly ball to right field. Over there is McCullough. He'll make the catch, trying to get to second, and he does safely. Is Edgington, or Hunter, sorry. So Hunter to second base. Edgington flies out to right. 2 outs in the inning, and here's Brian Banner.
38, Brian Banner.
Banner struck out and flew out to center field. Jesse Grieve should Banner reach. And that is roped foul down the first base side for strike 1. Just going to make sure that ball can still be playable. It is. Varian gets it back, and here comes your 0-1. Gets through the wickets of the catcher. And down to third goes Hunter. So a pass ball here for Clement Haga. And the go-ahead run at third base with 2 outs. One and one. Swung on, high to second base. Clement Haga makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Loggers in the 5th inning. They send 4 men to the plate, and they get a walk, and then strand him at third. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. To the bottom of the 5th we go on Bell Alliant Community One, your leader in local sports webcasting in Atlantic Canada. All right, back to it here. And here is Chris Walushka. Or Trevor Ethier, sorry. Oh, man. The PA announcer said Chris Walushka, just gave me a brain cramp there. Trevor Ethier for Saskatchewan. Ethier singled, was stranded, walked, and scored a run. And that is fouled on the third base side.
17, Trevor Ethier.
There we go. Trevor Ethier, Justin Potskin, and Colin Sean coming up in the 5th inning. And Jim Clement Haga, should anyone reach. A 4-4 game. You got a Sooke team trying to get their first win. You got a Saskatoon team trying to get back on the winning track. Great play. Beautiful play by Medwich at second base. Maybe the play of the day so far here from field 1 anyways. A diving play to his backhand, gets up and throws out Ethier at first to rob him of a single.
Now batting the center fielder, number 16, Justin Potskin.
So Ethier out 4-3, and here's Justin Potskin. Potskin has been stellar in center field. Popped out to the shortstop and had a double and scored. Sooke, they've spread their runs out through several innings. They had a 2 spot in the first, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Saskatoon had the 4 spot in the third. Right back to the pitcher, Barkman. Over to Hunter. And 1-3 goes Potskin quickly. And the bottom of the 5th. Colin Sean.
First baseman, number 37, Colin Sean.
Colin Sean grounded out to short, grounded out to second. Chipper Van Tassel, thank you very much for the follow. on the Twitter. Again, hope to hear from you folks. So lots of time there in Sooke and Saskatoon. The 1-0 count coming up on Colin Sean. Just off the plate, 1-1. I'll check that 2-0. Sean, and should anyone reach, Jim Clemenhaga. Off the plate, 2-1. A 4-pitch walk for Colin Sean. Put him at first base. And here's Jim Clemenhaga. Jim grounded out to shortstop and had a single and was stranded back in the third. Pat Burns would follow, should anyone reach. Clemenhaga digs in. Up high, 1-0. Actually, in there for a strike. Again, that umpire's call kind of delays it a bit before making the call. 0-1. Here's the 0-1. It's just off the plate. Coming up in the top of the 6 for Sooke is Grieve, Medwich, and Walushka. Bouncing in front of home plate and down to second will go Colin Sean. And now Jim Clemenhaga. An RBI opportunity here on a single. Two balls and one strike. A runner now at second is Colin Sean. Here comes your 2-1. A bouncer to third. Nicely played by Bryden. Throws it across on the run, and they'll get Clemenhaga 5-3. So, no runs, no hits, one left on, no errors. And we go to the top of the 6 from Charlottetown. In a 4-4 tie, Jesse Grieve, Nick Medwich, Chris Malushka coming up here for Sooke, the Loggers. Looking to get off the schneid, get their first win of the tournament. As Tammy Moran said on the email, keep calm and log her on. Jesse Grieve will lead things off. Jesse's still looking for his first hit. Again, folks, piling in. You might not see it in your screen, but this place really starting to fill up. Folks showing up for that 6:30 host game, the John Brown's Faucets. So if you're starting to join us, looking for that game, to get an early sneak peek, welcome to Field 1. It's BC and Saskatchewan. the Sooke Loggers and the Saskatoon Diamondbacks. And right now, a 4-4 tie in the top of the 6th. And Ethier takes over
Loggers, the right fielder, number 24,
on the mound
Grieve.
for Saskatoon. So Trevor Ethier will take over for Farian. First pitch, not a good one. Out in front of home plate. And corralled by the batter, Jeff Grieve. 1-0 to Grieve. Unable to get the bunt down, but inside for a ball, 2-0. That is high. 3-0. Medwich to follow. He's got a walk, and he grounded out to third. And then back to the top of the order. Every pitch now so important. 3-1. To center field, tailing away from Potskin, but he sticks with it. Good range out there. He's played an outstanding defensive center field outside of the ball he couldn't squeeze out there on a tough play. He has been solid. Got great range in center.
Nick Medrich.
So Grieve out. And now here's Nick Medwich. As mentioned, Nick 0 for 1. A walk back in the first. Batting from the left side. Here comes Ethier. In there for a strike. 0-1. Well, Ethier's a fireballer. Down low, 1-1. Unable to catch up is Medwich, 1-2. The 1-2. In there, strike 3 on the outside. So Medwich out, looking. That's Ethier's first strikeout.
Now batting the shortstop, number 11.
And now here's Chris Walushka. Walushka singled twice and reached on an error and has scored 2 runs. Oh, and 1. Chad Bryden. Should Walushka reach? 0 and 2. Just off the plate, 1 and 2. Roped into left field, and that'll get down in front of Burns. Throw comes in a second. A 2-out single for Walushka.
Now batting the third baseman, number 3, Chad Bryden.
So Walushka at first base with a 2-out hit. There's Chad Bryden. Bryden walked and scored a run. Popped out to third, singled, had an RBI, and was stranded. So the go-ahead run at first with 2 outs. And coming off the bag too quickly was Walushka. He will be called out. Does not agree. So that's a tough call on Walushka. Called for leaving early. So Bryden will come back up in the 7th. 1, 2, 3 end up going the Sooke Loggers here in the 6th. They got a hit. No runs, no errors, none left on. We'll go to the top of the bottom of the 6th with Pat Burns, Colby Beerley, and Jeff Varian all coming up. In a 4-4 tie. This one's been deadlocked for a while since the top of the 4th. Chris Walushka came home to tie it up. And since then, the offense has really run dry. So both teams will try to get it going here. Starting with Saskatoon in the bottom of the 6th. They put up a 4 spot in the 3rd. Other than that, they've been maintained by Logger pitchers. Barkman took over for Scott Life in the 3rd. And after, I think, the first 1 or 2 runs that had been put on by Life, Barkman hasn't allowed anything. Here's Pat Burns, chopper back to Barkman. That's easy doing. Burns out, 1 to 3. And we'll go to Colby Beerley. So do we have our second extra innings game of the day from Field 1? And for Saskatchewan. They lost earlier.
Now batting the third baseman, number 10, Colby Beerley.
Our first game of the day. 2-1 to the Faucets in 8 innings. Oh and 1. Up high, 1-1. In there for a strike, 1 and 2. One out. Here's Beerley. Struck out in the 2nd, grounded out to 3rd in the 4th. Low and inside, 3 and 2. Out in front, Beerley hits home plate with his fist. Not happy, but he's out on strikes. Couldn't hold back. Barkman's second strikeout. And here's Devin McCullough.
Number 12, Devin McCullough.
So McCullough with 2 outs. In there for a strike. Way off on that pitch is Barkman. It's missed by about 6 feet on the outside. A 1-1 pitch coming up. Quebec and the John Brown's Faucets ready to take the field, but we may be going extras. That's high. Umpire gets in the way out there and still making the catch. is Medwich. Medwich. Man, oh man. That was tough. He went scrambling for it, and he ran into the official, but was still able to catch the pop-up and then went flying backwards.
For the Diamondbacks, there are no runs on no hits, no errors.
But the catch is made regardless.
So after 6 complete, their score is
1, 2, 3. They go in the 6th inning. So we'll go to the 7th. Does extra innings await this one between Sooke and Saskatoon? So if you're just starting to check in with us, looking for that 6:30 game,
provides players, parents, and
well, we're not there yet.
and useful information about the sport of softball in Canada. Track achievements, enter contests, read about softball stars, and more, all in one website. Visit www.AAAsoftball.ca to check out for yourself.
We're not there yet. We're in the top of the 7th between Saskatoon and Sooke. A 4-4 game. So welcome to Field 1 as night begins to fall here in Charlottetown. The sun slowly settling in the city. An absolutely perfect night. First pitch ball. Second pitch strike, 1-1 here on Chad Bryden. Bryden was up when Malushka was called out for leaving too early at first base. So right back up there is Bryden. Bryden, Medwich, and Hunter, the 2, 3, 4 hitters. Fouled away, 1-2. Bryden 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. The 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called on the inside. Bryden out on strikes.
Now batting the second baseman,
Enters Andrew Medwich. Medwich had a sacrifice fly RBI. Had a walk and was thrown out at home on a beautiful relay from center field on a double by Blake Hunter. And he struck out back in the 4th. Two quick strikes here on Medwich. The 0-2 swung on and fouled to the backstop. They'll do it again. Blake Hunter awaits. He may be the best hitter of the game so far for this Sooke team. The sacrifice fly RBI, a double. On the outside portion, strike 3. Medwich caught looking. That's the third strikeout for Ethier since coming in. Now here's Blake Hunter. Off the plate inside. 1-0. Ethier came in the 6th inning. Has only allowed 1 hit, but again, that base runner was called out for leaving too early. Was Walushka. 2-0. Chopper down the third baseline, foul. 2-1. The 2-1. High and outside, 3-1. All right, so the number 4 hitter in the lineup who's shown good power today. Do you groove one on 3-1? He does, and Hunter had a mighty hack but couldn't catch up. 3-2. Well, Ethier brought it right down the middle of the plate. Hunter couldn't catch it. That is caught and out. Had no problem catching up to that one. The 3-2 out to right center. A 1-run lead for Sooke.
Now batting the pitcher, number 8.
To right center field the other way. Couldn't catch up to the 3-1, but he caught the 3-2. Squared it up and put it out to right center. And it is 5-4 for Sooke. In the top of the 7th. What a blast that was off of Ethier. He now has 2 RBIs. A home run, a double, a sac fly, and a walk. He's in line for player of the game for Sooke. There's Tyson Barkman. He now stands to be the winning pitcher. Fouled back by Barkman. Barkman singled twice. Was stranded once, had an RBI single the other time. And flew out to center field. Oh, 0-2 here on Barkman. Well, Saskatoon, again, they got out to a great start, 1-0, but now in danger of losing the 3rd game in a row. Meanwhile, Sooke trying to get off the schneid and get their first win. Okay, we saw Quebec in our second game, get into the win column with a 9-2 victory over Nova Scotia. Our afternoon game going late into our nightcaps here. We still have 3 games to go. We got the 6th game is started over on Field 2, the 2 Newfoundland teams. So check that Newfoundland 1 and Nova Scotia. But 2 games still to come here from Field 1. Barkman out on strikes. They send 4 men to the plate. 1 hit. None left on base, no errors, and 1 run on a blast by Blake Hunter. 3-2 pitch right down the middle of the plate. And he squared it up and delivered over the fence to right center, an absolute laser beam. And it is 5-4 for Sooke.
And no runners left on base.
Coming up in the bottom of the 7th.
The Loggers 5, Diamondbacks 4.
Clemenhagen, Pocoyoe, and Ethier. Potskin, should anyone reach. The 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up for Sooke. One of the great games of the tournament so far. This has been a doozy. Back and forth they've gone. 3-0 for Sooke. 4-3 for Saskatoon. Sooke tied it up 4-4. And now a solo blast to make it 5-4. Can Saskatoon respond? Barkman out there to try and close it. Barkman out there to try and close it. That pitch hit down the third baseline and foul. Here's Clement Hagan. Walked, struck out twice. The appeal down to second. I'm going to say he went around on the bunt. 2-0 or 0-2. Swung on and fouled out of play on the third base side. Oh, and 2. Swung on again and heads up in the bleachers over there. Man, oh man, that was a laser beam that went into foul ground, and folks over there lucky that didn't make contact. Holy cow. Well, when you come to fast pitch games, you got to have your head up, man. That was an absolute blast into the bleachers behind the Saskatoon dugout. Oh, and 2. Clement Haga, the first batter of the inning. Up high, 1 and 2. Well, Saskatoon has the heart of the order coming up. 2, 3, 4. It's just as you'd like it in this position. 2 and 2. Barkman had 2 strikes, now evened up at 2. Just off the plate, 3 and 2. So what could be the first of several full counts in this decisive bottom of the 7th. Here comes Barkman. Off the plate, ball 4, just missing. And Saskatoon has a base runner, Clement Haga, with the walk. Down at first.
Shortstop, number 4, Brennan Pecoyaway.
Brennan Pecoyaway. Struck out, flew to center, and in between had a 2-run bomb. The bunt. The play is to first. Pecoyaway gives himself up to try to tie this thing. A sac bunt by Pecoyaway for the first out, and at second is Clement Haga.
Now batting number 17, Trevor Ethier.
So Clement Haga at second. Pecoyaway the sacrifice bunt, and here's Trevor Ethier. Ethier singled, walked, grounded to second. 1 for 2. Banner goes out to talk to Barkman. Chopper off the foot of Ethier and foul. Looks like it didn't hurt too much. Went off the heel part of the shoe. Ethier and Jessen Potson to follow. The runner at second. The 4 or 5 hitters up with the tying run at second base. Again, can't ask for much more. Swinging through that pitch, though, is Ethier, now quickly 0-2. The 0-2 on Ethier. Just off the plate. Catcher holds it there for a bit. But the umpire says no, 1-2. If you're just joining us again looking for Quebec and John Brown's Faucets, welcome to Field 1. We're finishing this one up here in the bottom of the 7th. Fouled by Ethier. 5-4. Sooke leading Saskatoon. Ethier is at the plate. He has a 1-2 count. Strike 3 on Ethier. The riser couldn't catch up. And Saskatoon down to their final out.
Now batting the center fielder, number 16, Jessen Potson.
It'll be Jessen Potson. Potson has had a busy day. He's been really busy out there in center field. A lot of plays his way. And at the plate, popped out to shortstop. Fouls that off. Doubled, scored a run, and grounded back to the pitcher. Oh, 1-1. No, sir. Just off the plate. Sooke fans furious about that. They thought they had the second strike. 1-1. The 1-1. No, sir, once more. No, yes, it is a strike. Sorry, the umpire again. That delayed strike call with the right hand. This time he does give it a strike. 1-2. Saskatoon down to their final strike. Clement Haga, speedy at second. Off the glove of the catcher, Banner, and into third now is Clement Haga. So the tying run at third. A 2-2 count with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Matthew Clark now at the Holiday Inn in New Glasgow. Watch that. It's a great hotel. I've been to that one. The 2-2. Strike 3. The Sooke Loggers are going to get their first win, 5-4. Potson strikes out. Saskatoon will drop to 1-3, and Sooke will improve to 1-2. That's a huge momentum builder for Sooke as they'll now get ready for the nightcap game. They got to get back to the hotel, get refurbished, get rejuvenated, get rehydrated.
Line up on the
I need to
sidelines. We will have Rick
get some
Brown,
food
the
and
hosting committee,
water as well.
prepare the game awards.
But they got the nightcap coming up against Three Cheers Pub, so that's a tough game. But for now, they will get the win. 5-4 over Saskatoon. So again, BC now 1-2. Saskatoon drops to a disappointing 1-3 for them. They've been in. That's 2 games today that they could easily be 3-1. 2 heartbreaking losses. Nova Scotia, Newfoundland 1. The Kelly's Pub over there playing right now at Field 2 with Chris Abbott. So you can check that out during the break here. The game over there with Chris Abbott.
Player of the game for the Diamondbacks, number 12, Blake Hunter.
Blake Hunter, player of the game for the Loggers. No surprise there. He had the blast to win it.
For Saskatchewan, Devin McCullough.
And Devin McCullough,
Is Blake Hunter for BC.
player of the game for Saskatoon. Blake Hunter in the top of the 7th, a solo blast to win this thing. What a great game. Pitching, defense, timely hitting, home runs. This one had it all. Hope you've enjoyed on Bell Alliant Community 1. Your leader in local sports webcasting in Atlantic, Canada. The 2014 Fastpitch National
The next
Senior and Master Championships from Charlottetown, PEI.
The host against Quebec.
Your next game coming up is the host team Quebec, or the host team, the John Brown's Faucets versus Quebec. You've been watching this live presentation of Bell Alliant Community 1 from Charlottetown. Goodbye for now. The final score here, the Sooke Loggers 3 and the Saskatoon Diamondbacks 2.